There, I'm Clifford Bates, and welcome once again to Reading Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics. Today, we're looking at chapter 3. So let's get the screen a little bit going. Looking at book 1, chapter 3. And we're going to be going through it chapter by chapter. So we're going to be going, smaller videos because of this. Chapter 3 starts on continuing the question of what was the good. We continue the analysis of his presenting of what is kind of the teleology, or the understanding of what is the good, the highest good, and the connection of the good. That the an activity aims at something. So there is an activity, and then there is an action that aims towards something, and the thing that it aims towards is some good, and therefore the type of good. Right? That's how he's did it. So now let's go look into the question of the next chapter 3. He goes, the inquiry would be adequately made if it should attain the clarity that accords with the subject matter. So therefore, we should be as clear as possible. He's saying that the subject matter is the question of what is the good. What is the good that man seeks, right? For one should not seek out. One should not seek out precision in all arguments alike. So just as one should not do so in the products of the craftsmanship either, artsmanship, technique, the craftsmanship. In other words, the craftsman is not going to do everything. In other words, all subjects are not going to have the same clarity or same precision. In other words, it's as not every craft is going to be as precise or exact as every other craft. So therefore, there's not a. In other words, among the arts, the crafts, the techniques, the specific crafts, there's not going to be like a shoeman. The precision of a horseshoe person, making of horseshoes, is different from a precision of a person who's making car engine, or making a rocket, or making a. So everything is made different. The level of precision in a craft or an inquiry is going to vary in regard to the thing that is being addressed. So we shouldn't precise all arguments alike. This is true. It said the beautiful things, the noble things, the kalos, ta kolos, and the just thing, taidake, the noble, the beautiful things, and the just things, which the political art examines, admits much dispute and variability, such as they are held to exist by law alone and not by nature. Now, here's Levin. This is the word nomos, custom, law, custom. So therefore, by nomos alone. And this is the thing. Nomos in Greek is both custom, we would say custom, uh, as he says, custom or a convention or law, between written law. And this is why the law is both the unwritten and the habitual, the custom that we have. It's and versus the written law, the written law, the word that is written down or rationally contrived. So he's saying that it's in other words that even though these noble things, they are held to exist by law alone and not by nature. So that's even more interesting. The noble things, the political things, admit of much dispute and varieties. That therefore their variety and dispute is that it is such that as they are held and believed to be only by convention, okay, but not by nature. This is an art. This is not. He's not saying that they're only by law and convention. He's saying that this is what people often held because of their variation. Because the variations of the noble and just things, the beautiful and just things, which are the scope of the political art, the political science, the political art. And this is not political techne. It's politike. Remember that it's that ite feminine version of the word politicos. And this is the political art or political capacity, right? This is why it's frustrating in this sense, because I think the translation is a good translation, but I think the making it the political art the political, which the political examines, the political capacity examines, um, and is the variety in that sense, right? And even the good things, the ta agathos, admit of some such variety on account of the harm that befalls many people as the result of them. So, in other words, the good admits some variation because what's good for one person may not be good for another person. Because one person, what's good for this person could harm that person. Okay, and he continues a semicolon. It has happened that some have been destroyed on account of their wealth, others on account of their courage. So so therefore, what is the good? The good is, like some people argue, wealth is a good. Okay, and some people argue that the good is courage, a virtue of courage. But being courageous has destroyed some people. Some people have thrived under it, but others have courage has destroyed them. Okay, wealth has destroyed them. Some people that know how to handle it well, others will do not. So therefore, that's what he's saying here. Now, second paragraph. It would certainly be desirable enough then if one who speaks about and on the say sorry, it should be desirable enough then if one who speaks about and on the basis of such things demonstrate the truth roughly and in outline, and if in speaking about and on the basis of things that are for the most part so, draw one conclusion of that sort as well. So therefore, in other words, it's a very interesting point. He's saying, okay, it'd be good enough, if you're going to talk about this, we're speaking on a rough basis, not exactly precise, because of the variation that the human and good things are going to be such variation that it's going to be hard to speak with precision. And therefore, we're going to speak it roughly in an outline, right? And do so on a basis that is the most part true, right? To speak about the basis, we're going to demonstrate the truth roughly, not exactly, but roughly, he says. And therefore, he says, for the most part, one draws conclusion from that sort as well. In other words, even if it's not going to be an exact thing, it's going to still allow you to make some conclusions. Okay. Indeed, in the same manner, one must also accept each of the points being made. So therefore, we have to accept the point being made at a certain level. In other words, the same manner, one must also accept a certain point being made, for it belongs to an educated person to seek out precision in such genus as to the extent that the nature of the matter allows. So for an educated person will only seek the precision of each thing, or each subject or species or things, to the extent that the nature of the matter, the issue in question, allows. To accept persuasive speech from a skilled mathematician appears compatible to demanding demonstrations from a skilled rhetorician. So, in other words, to accept persuasive speech from a skilled mathematician is compatible to demanding demonstrations from a skilled. In other words, these things are not necessarily the same. Each person judges beautifully, nobly, kalos, the things he knows. And of these, he is a good judge. So therefore, it's a very interesting point that it's not going to be that everyone will know everything. Everyone will be people judge beautifully, kalos, well, beautifully well, the things that he knows, that what he or she knows. And of these things, he's a good judge. In other words, the things that you know, you can judge, and you're a good judge. You judge well. You judge kalon, he says. He is a good judge of a particular thing. Therefore, if he had been educated with the view to it, but it is good. Discussion. A good judge is a particular thing. Therefore, if he had been educated with a view to it, but is a good judge simply if he had been educated about everything. But is a good judge simply if but is a good judge simply if he had been educated about everything. So it may not be. Hence the political art. Hence of the political art, a young person is not an appropriate student, for he is inexperienced in the actions pertaining to life. In other words, the things pertaining to life, and the arguments are based on these actions and concerning them. So 2 notes, 12 and 13. So there, RX is the listener or auditor, perhaps, of spoken literature. Such lessons are conveyed by listening to the poets or to one's fathers, for example. So therefore, this is the young aren't necessarily going to be. The young person is not going to be an appropriate student. Why? Because he's not experienced in the sense. For the political art, it's going to be hard for the young to understand, he says, because they don't have enough experience in the actions pertaining to life. And here the word logoi, right? The arguments, logoi. Arguments, reason, speech. He variates this logoi here. So the logoi are based on the logoi are based on these actions and concerns those actions, concerns them. Further, because he is disposed to follow the passions, he will listen pointlessly and unprofitably. Since the end involved is not knowledge but action. So therefore, this is the problem. It's not knowledge. In other words, because he's disposed to follow the passions, right? He will listen pointlessly and unprofitably. And since the end is not necessarily knowledge, okay, but action, knowing how to do action well. And because action is not going to follow what reason dictates, but rather his desires dictate, right? And it makes no difference at all whether he is young at age or immature in character. Now, 14. The first appearance of this point, ethnos, which appears as a plural adjective in the title of the word ethics, right? The translated as ethics, but literally things pertaining to character, right? So ethics mean things pertaining to character. So therefore, immaturity and ethnos, ethnic, ethics. Things pertaining to character, right? Whether he is young or immature in character. In fact, that's what ethic means, character, the character or makeup of a person. The deficiency is not related to time, but instead arises on account of living in accord with passions and pursuing each passion in turn. So it's not the question of immaturity it's not necessarily about age. It's about simply succumbing to the passions and not addressing them or judging them, okay, and not in other words, being ruled by the passions, letting the passions just guide you and do you, and not allowing reason or judgment to do this, okay. So that on account of living in accord with passions and pursuing each passion in turn, for to people of that sort, just as to those lacking self-restraint. Again, so this is self-restraint is anakria and akrasia. So that is to those who are unable to do the correct things, though in some sense they know what it is. So therefore, this is Aristotle will analyze both self-restraint and the lack of self-restraint in enkritia and akrasia in Book 7. This is what Book 7, chapters 1 through 10 we'll look at. This is why akrasia, he'll deal with the question of, knowing what is right but unable to do it, and the ability to know what's right and to do it, and know what's wrong and not do it, right? And then the difference of knowing what is wrong but still doing it, knowing what is right but not being able to do it, okay? This is the... So people sort just adjust as to those lacking self-restraint. Knowledge is without benefit. In other words, if you don't have in other words, if you know what is I mean, knowing the right thing, but not having the self-restraint in order to accomplish it or do it is not good enough. Knowing something, knowing it's right, but unable to do it is not enough. You have to know it and be able to do it, right? That's a typical thing. To act on it, or not act on it, okay? But to those who fashion their longings in according with reason and act accordingly, knowing about these things would be of great profit. So therefore, in other words, if you are able to govern your passions through, use reason, use logos, to act accordingly. In other words, to fashion their passions in accordance with logos, reasoning, and act accordingly. Now, these people will profit from this study in that sense. About the student and how one ought to accept what is being said, and what it is that we propose. Let these things stand as a prelude. So, in other words, who's the students? Who are about the student, and what is possible? Let's just keep this stand as it's not for immature. It's in other words, everything. It's going to stand here as a prologue to the discussion. Okay? So therefore, he's kind of like saying that to what the students and what ought to accept of what is being said, and what it is that we propose. Let us stop here and consider this a prelude. So chapters 1 through 3 are kind of a prelude in that sense, right? The prelude to the book. So let's stop here. Any comments, questions, or issues you have, please put them in the comments and I will respond to them when I see them. If you have any other issues, just put it there. If you like it, please like it, hit the like button. Share it with a friend, share it on social media, share it out there, put it, send it on X, send it to your friends. If you've not subscribed, encourage others to subscribe. If you didn't like it, you had something wrong, you thought you didn't like something I did, or you don't like something how I did it, you can always hit negative, but say why in the comments. That way we can learn, right? Another thing is, if you want to follow me on social media, the links are below. And if you want to follow my academic backgrounds, the so-called academic social media sites about my research and things like that, the links are below the social media links. Another thing is, if you want to help me to do what I do, you can do so by becoming, by contributing through Subscribestar and Patreon. The links are below. Or if you want to, another way you can help me is buy one of the books that are listed, my 3 books that are out there listed below. That's it. I hope you guys to see you soon. We look at this again in chapter 4 next. We'll look at chapter 4 next, and we'll continue book 1 through chapter 4, and we'll go through it again. Okay, take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.